Hey guys, it's Liz of Consumed by Books, and today I am here to do a video review of Monsters of Men by Patrick Ness. As you guys remember, in February you voted on a stack of 5. I picked 5 books that were part 2 in a series and asked you guys to pick one for me to read. I know it's a little sad that you picked this in February, but I'm going to say something that we all know about Patrick Ness. I'm actually going to say 2 things, so I lied to you there. One is that he loves to rip our hearts out. We know this. I read A Monster Calls and it's terribly sad. The other thing that I was going to say was this is the 3rd book in a series, and I had to remember what had happened in the first 2 books. There is a website called Recaptains where they tell you what happened in the first 2 books in a series, but this one isn't on there yet. So I guess that fact is not so much about Patrick Ness, but the book itself. But anyways, I had to gird my loins and prepare for my heart to be ripped out. And I had to remember everything that had happened in this series. So that was, my hesitation to kind of start this and why I didn't get it started until May. And then it took me all summer to read it, kind of dipping in and out. To give you an idea of what's happening in this story, it picks up pretty much where the Ask and the Answer left off. The first 2 books are The Knife of Never Letting Go and the Ask and the Answer. By the way, if you haven't read those 2 books, you're probably going to want to stop watching this review because there will be some spoilers. I do have reviews of the first 2 books up on my blog, so you're going to want to go look at those instead. At any rate, like I said, this one picks up where the Ask and the Answer left off. So there are 3 armies descending on New Prentice Town at the beginning of the book. There is the Spackle army, and then there are, the armies that the mayor has, and the armies that the woman has, and then there's the prospect of all these new settlers arriving, and it's just craziness. There is a lot going on in this story. And to be perfectly honest, the whole thing is kind of confusing. This book is about war. It is very much a book that is about war and its effects and what it does to people, the effects that it has on society, how we rebuild after war, and also very heavily about how war changes individuals, particularly people who are leaders or catalysts of some sort in that war. This is kind of a challenging book to read. Like we said, Patrick Ness rips our hearts out. We know this. So there are just always plot points in his books that will make the reader go, "No, why did you do that?" And of course, he put those in this book, and that made it hard to read. I've just kind of accepted that there is always going to be something in a Patrick Ness book that kind of breaks my heart. But I still love the books and read them anyways. The other thing that makes this book confusing is that there's a lot of action happening. There are several different battle scenes that happen throughout the book, and at times it's very easy to lose track of who's attacking who, where are they in terms of the geography, what's going on. And when I was reading the book, this was kind of a frustrating thing to experience because I'm like, why am I stupid? Why don't I have a better understanding of what's happening and who's attacking who and where they are? One thing I will say there is that it may have been helpful to include some kind of map in these books. Watch this. Oh, there is a map. I could have been looking at that the whole time. Okay, so there is a map, and I clearly should have been consulting that when I read, because I think that everything that was happening would have made more sense had I been doing that. So it was a little frustrating to have that all going on. When I look back and think about it, however, I think that the confusion actually makes a lot of sense. Because you're reading the story and you're like, who's killing who? Why are they killing each other? What's going on? Oh my gosh, what's going to happen as a result of this big thing that just happened? I think that Patrick Ness was trying to accurately portray how a war would be. Because when there's really a war going on, it's very easy to lose track of why are we attacking each other? Why are we doing this? And I think it's very easy for people to lose track of who they once were and become something that they don't recognize because they get so caught up in fighting for this cause that they believe in. Then all of a sudden they look back and they're like, whoa, I'm not the person that I used to be, and I'm not sure that I'm the person that I thought I was. So while it was a little bit frustrating to read, in retrospect, I kind of understand why Patrick Ness did this to us. I understand what Patrick Ness does to us, even if I don't like it. Again, with the heart-wrenching thing. The other thing to note about this book is that it is told from 3 perspectives. We have Todd, we have Viola, and we have the Spackle voice. Todd and Viola, I thought, were fantastic as always. As I'm sure you guys can imagine, their relationship has changed a lot throughout the course of the series, and the tension between them was so well done in this book. You could really sense all of the emotion that was between them, and all of the longing and the frustration, and just everything that was there. It was really, really wonderfully done, and I can't applaud Patrick Ness enough for that, because I had so many feels while reading about Todd and Viola. The Spackle voice was a little bit trickier for me. At times it just got a little bit too out there, because it's kind of the Spackle communicating with the other Spackle, and the leader plays a pretty big role, and it just felt, like I said, a little bit too out there and far-fetched at times. You're kind of like, okay, what's going on? Why are they communicating like this? And it also was a little weird to read because they had it in this font that was very distinct from what they were using for Todd and Viola, if I can find a page with that on it. So this is the Spackle font, whereas, you know, this is Viola's font and this is Todd's font. So that gives you an idea of how different it looks. So I was a little confused by the Spackle voice, but I did think that it was really an important voice to have in the end, because it kind of gave us some insight into how the world was changing and why it was changing and what it might become once the war is over, you know, in the part of the trilogy that we don't see. Because we really don't see the healing that happens after the war. What we kind of see in this book is really the war itself and the immediate after effects and how everyone is coping with those, and how, you know, the immediate after effects of war do also have some immediate repercussions that cause a heckload of other drama. So I did enjoy the Spackle voice, but even if it was a little confusing. The other thing that I would say about this book is comment on the ending. I know that a lot of people have really strong feelings about the way the story ended. I will be honest with you, I knew spoilers going into the book. I kind of had an idea of how it was going to end, because at one point I did a school project on Patrick Ness. I thought that I was going to hate it. I really, really thought that I was going to read the ending and that it wasn't going to work at all for me, and that I would just be like, no, not what I want. But as it turns out, the tone of the ending was really just perfect. I thought that it was exactly what the series needed, and I'm not going to say any more about it because I'm concerned that discussing my emotions on it anymore will completely ruin the series for all of you, and I don't want to do that. When I got this book signed, I'd read maybe 10 pages of The Knife of Never Letting Go just to kind of sample it, and Patrick Ness wrote, "For Liz, hope you like how it all ends, Patrick Ness." He wrote that on October 2nd of 2010. So Patrick Ness, I would like to inform you that yes, I do very much like how you ended the series, even if at times when I was reading the book I didn't completely understand what was happening. I think that this is a really great addition, not just this book, but the series as a whole, to the dystopian science fiction genre of young adult literature. I think that these books are really interesting conceptually, but they're still deeply relatable in many, many ways, and they raise a lot of concepts that are thought-provoking and make for fabulous discussion. And I actually put The Knife of Never Letting Go on my list of books that I think should be taught in schools, because there are so many great talking points in that book and in this whole series. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I tend to give ratings based on how I feel. if I don't like a book, but I see its literary quality, I'll often say in a review, you know, I see the literary quality in this book, but I didn't enjoy it, so I'm not giving it that many stars. This is a case where these are books that are of a fantastic literary quality, and even though Patrick Ness ripped my heart out so many times and just made me feel all the feels, I cared really deeply about the characters and about the story and about the world the whole way through, and I really think that if you haven't read this series, that you need to go out and read it right now. And you know what? It's actually perfect that I'm filming this review when I am, because it is September 5th today, and Patrick Ness has a new young adult book called More Than This, and it comes out on Tuesday, and I think that we probably all need to go buy that one too. Yeah. So, that is my video review of Monsters of Men. Be sure to comment about what you think below. If you have read and reviewed this book, please post a link to your review, especially if you did a video review, because I'm still getting to know other booktubers. I really want to know what you guys think. I want to know what your thoughts are about the ending. I want to know if anyone else found this book confusing. And I'm really excited to have more Stack of 5 picks eventually for you guys to tell me what to read and review. That is all for now. Until I see you guys next time, happy reading!